Hi guys, it's here with another video for the upcoming 3.18 League Sentinel. And I figured it would be fun to make a wish list of like semi-realistic things that I'd like to see in the game and maybe some like hopes for changes, etc. like that. And do remember that it is a minor league, it's not an expansion. So for those kind of new to Path of Exile, we get 4 leagues per year, one being a major expansion, the other ones being, well, still pretty damn big, but you know, not as big as the big one, but compared to most games, they are all kind of just big expansions. Just speculation and stuff like that. But for those that like that kind of content, this is the video for you. So first, the new endgame bosses. Obviously, I would love more endgame bosses. We're probably not getting that, but there is probably a chance that we could get stronger versions of the current bosses. Or maybe like an addition to the current ones, like an extra move to the Eater of Worlds would be really nice. They're very behind the in-game power curve, and they do look good, especially the Searing Exarch. Just looks like an amazing fight. It's so cool to see like all the balls flying across the screen. I also would really like to see, which I thought was very strange that they don't currently have. Once you fought the tutorial version, the green version, you can fight a normal version, like that you can roll, and even without rolling it, it is already a harder fight. I was very surprised that this was just map mods, and you're basically only rolling things that don't matter. So basically no damage reduction or life whatsoever, and damage doesn't really matter that much. But I was surprised that we don't see different specific nodes or like map mods for the fight. So for example, for the Searing Exarch, you could easily add projectile speed, like additional balls, additional ball stages. You could even have a mod that it has a different move. Like maybe it's an optional mod that adds a lot of quantity or a bigger chance for the jewels to drop. For the Eater of Worlds fight, you could have like, instead of 10 of the balls it has to that you have to stand on, it could be 15. Like it could be an increasing number. Like there's a lot of things like that you could add. I always think it's very boring when there's rollable fights in the game and we just have generic mods and nothing specific to the fight. Now, personally, I don't really like bosses even having mods because rolling quant on bosses pretty much never feels worth it to me. Honestly, I just prefer bosses to be really hard. A default state. You kill the boss, it's not like, oh, I killed the feared with like these mods. It's just you kill the feared and it's that difficult. But you know, that's just preference. I definitely prefer just hard bosses and no mods. The Atlas tree, I would love to see more on it. It's already in a pretty perfect spot actually, so it is hard to do anything with. Not broken, don't fix it. I really hope they keep the adjacent map strategy in, that you can guarantee that the next map always drops. I think that adds a lot to the game. It's one of the most enjoyable things. Honestly, yeah, it was probably the most enjoyable thing for me because it really brings back things like Mephisto farming or piety farming like back in the day. So really like the boss rushing strat. It's also very good for the events I run and just for solo self-fun in general. Absolutely love it. Honestly, probably the best thing they've added in 2 years. I really hope it does not go. And whenever Ultimatum comes in, which I'm hoping is 3.18, whenever Ultimatum comes in, that'll probably be added to the tree as well, which will shake it up. It's also such a good tree because it's so hard to choose, right? And you have to respec a lot. It's just great. Are we going to see any new skills? I become more and more surprised each time they add new skills, because outside of them adding a whole new archetype, right? Like we had, what's the most recent one? Brands? I guess Brands is the most recent one, but outside of them adding a whole new archetype, what are they going to add at this point that is different from existing skills? So it is becoming increasingly hard to come up and specifically balance new skills. We're already seeing this problem with Arc, Ball, Lightning, and Cracklands, where are they really that different from each other? Is one always going to be better? And do they really serve a different purpose? So I feel like the more skills you add, and like you have Winter Orb and Blade Vortex being, well, we have Winter Orb at range, or Blade Vortex at range is Winter Orb, right? It's increasingly hard to add skills. I would love to see new skills. I always think it's great just because it's good content for me to make videos around. But very surprised when they add new ones. What about reworking weapon types? So for example, dual wielding could definitely be in a bigger spot. I kind of miss that sticking. Don't know about you guys. It's when you had a weapon that couldn't be used, so you had it just for the stats. And we're getting the dual wield bonuses, but literally using a one-hander. They have been reworking things. They reworked mods on wands and daggers. That was huge. I definitely think we could see some rework on mods. It would be really good. Like, just stats in general. They reworked life regen. I think thorns should be reworked as well. I don't actually think there is a need for completely dead mods in Path of Exile. For a while, I was thinking dead mods are pretty good because it makes good mods more valuable, right? I get that. However, I think there's no reason for dead mods at all. So thorns. Like even life regen now is pretty good, right? But it's not good for every build. So it's a dead mod for some builds still, but it is at least always a good stat, right? Getting 200 life regen on a chest or a shield is something you will notice on a lot of builds. But obviously sometimes you just want another stat instead, and it will be a de facto dead mod, but it's not literally a dead mod. Thorns is literally a dead mod. So yeah, I don't think there is a need ever for actual dead mods. The game is also getting quite bloaty. PoE has been getting better throughout the years, and I would presume, what are they removing next? Torment, surely. Topium. Surely Torment is the next to go. I would love to see Metamorph go. I'm not a big fan of Metamorph. I'm not a big fan of Heist either. I think it's important that content needs to have its own special thing, which Heist does very well, even though I don't like the content. With the replicas and the gems, and it still gives too much of the other stuff. I would rather see the removal of normal heists and have just grand heists, and have it be a really cool thing that you get occasionally. You don't even need... I don't personally... there's no way this is going to happen, by the way, because they put too much work into it. But I would love to see heists completely change to the point where you don't have the people, or that they're always just a default level, doesn't necessarily need gear, and just scrap most of that and just have grand heist. Be more of a similar thing to the keys that would drop, reliquary keys. Because I think heist did really well on the special content, but I think it does damage the game almost whenever we have things like it just shits out. It's the best place to go for cluster jewels. It's the best place to go for catalysts still. I think the best place to go for, you know, their own archetype should always be the place itself, right? Honestly, it shouldn't just be the best place, it should be the only place, in my opinion. If I want fossils and resonators, I should have to go to Delve. I honestly don't really want to get it from anywhere else. And then I would like to get a large amount of it when I'm doing the content. They have been already moving towards that direction, but I would like to see more of that, right? Like if I do a Metamorph, I would like to see, instead of 1 or 2 catalysts, I would like to see maybe 5. Currently, if I want catalysts, I will either do Heist, anything with Demolition, or I will do Delirium with the Metamorph reward, right? Like that's so much more rewarding than actually doing Metamorph. So I would love to see a big changeover for that. That's probably what I would want the most. Either way, PoE 2 is probably a long time away. I'm expecting maybe an announcement at the end of this year. So we're maybe a year and a half away from actual PoE 2 release. But I would not be surprised if it's at least sub 2 years now. So it's obviously taken a while, but yeah, I'd be expecting an announcement near the end of the year. Maybe at the end of next year. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy videos like this. Sub if you like the video, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.